Can you imagine one single wrong turn sparking a war that would claim 17 million lives? It sounds like the plot of a movie, but it's exactly what happened on a fateful summer day in 1914. This is the story of how a simple mistake by a driver plunged the entire world into the chaos of World War I. Our story begins in Sarajevo, the capital of Bosnia, which was then part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. The date is June 28, 1914. The air is thick with tension. Europe at this time isn't a peaceful continent, it's a tangled web of alliances, a political powder keg just waiting for a spark. You had the Triple Entente: France, Russia, and Britain on one side, and the Triple Alliance: Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy on the other. Nationalism was boiling over, empires were clashing, and military budgets were soaring. Everyone was armed to the teeth, and it felt like any small incident could set the whole thing off. Into this volatile atmosphere drives Archduke Franz Ferdinand, the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne. He's in Sarajevo for a state visit with his wife, Sophie. Now, a visit from the heir of an empire that many locals resented was already a risky move. To the Serbian nationalists in the region, Franz Ferdinand was a symbol of oppression. They dreamed of a unified Slavic state, free from Austro-Hungarian rule. For them, this visit was a provocation, an opportunity they couldn't ignore. This is where a secret society known as the Black Hand enters the picture. They were a shadowy group of Serbian nationalists, and their goal was simple and brutal: assassinate the Archduke and send a message to the empire. They trained and armed a group of young men, positioning them along the Archduke's planned motorcade route through Sarajevo. Among them was a 19-year-old named Gavrilo Princip. He and his fellow conspirators were filled with a fervent, almost fanatical, sense of patriotic duty. They were ready to die for their cause. The morning of June 28 arrives. The royal motorcade begins its journey. The first assassin in line, a man named Mehmet Bakik, loses his nerve. He has a bomb, but he freezes and does nothing as the Archduke's car drives past. The motorcade continues. The next assassin, Nedeljko Kabrinovic, is more determined. As the Archduke's car approaches, he arms his bomb and hurls it, but he makes a critical error. The bomb has a 10-second delay. It bounces off the folded back roof of the Archduke's convertible, rolls under the car behind it, and explodes. Several officers and onlookers are injured. But Franz Ferdinand and Sophie are completely unharmed. Kabrinovic, in a dramatic but failed gesture, swallows a cyanide pill which only makes him sick and jumps into the shallow Miljacka River, where he's quickly captured. The assassination attempt, for all intents and purposes, has failed. The motorcade speeds away, and the other assassins, including Gavrilo Princip, realize their chance has gone. The plan is in ruins. Dejected and defeated, Princip wanders off. He decides to get a sandwich at a nearby delicatessen, probably thinking about what went wrong and what would happen next. The moment, it seems, has passed. History was on the verge of continuing its normal course. Franz Ferdinand, meanwhile, is shaken but resolute. After a brief reception at the town hall, he insists on visiting the hospital to see the officers who were injured in the bombing. This was a noble gesture, a decision born from compassion. But it would prove to be a fatal one. The officials decide to change the planned route to the hospital to avoid the crowded city center, hoping to prevent any further attempts. It was a sensible precaution. There was just one tiny, crucial problem: nobody told the driver. So, the motorcade sets off again. The driver, Leopold Loika, follows the original, now cancelled route. As he makes a turn onto Franz Joseph Street, an official in the car shouts at him, "What is this? This is the wrong way. We're supposed to go straight." Realizing his mistake, Loika slams on the brakes. The car stalls. He tries to reverse, but the gears grind and the engine dies right in the middle of the street. And where, by sheer, unbelievable coincidence, does the car stop? Directly in front of the delicatessen where Gavrilo Princip is standing, sandwich in hand, lamenting his failure. Imagine the scene from Princip's perspective. The man he was supposed to kill, the target of a failed international conspiracy, has just appeared less than 5 feet in front of him, sitting in a stalled, open-top car. It's a chance beyond belief, a twist of fate so improbable it feels like fiction. Princip doesn't hesitate. He steps forward, draws his pistol, and fires 2 shots. The first hits Sophie in the abdomen. The second strikes Franz Ferdinand in the neck. At first, no one seems to realize the severity of what's happened. Ferdinand reportedly begged his wife, Sophie, don't die. Stay alive for our children. But it was too late. Within minutes, both the Archduke and his wife were dead. Gavrilo Princip was immediately apprehended, but the damage was done. The spark had finally been lit. What followed was a catastrophic chain reaction, a domino effect that no one could stop. Austria-Hungary, outraged and looking for an excuse to crush Serbian nationalism once and for all, issued an ultimatum to Serbia with a list of demands so harsh they were impossible to accept fully. When Serbia refused one of the terms, Austria-Hungary declared war on July 28, 1914, exactly 1 month after the assassination. This is where the web of alliances came into play. Russia, seeing itself as the protector of the Slavic people in Serbia, began to mobilize its massive army. Germany, allied with Austria-Hungary, saw Russia's mobilization as a threat and declared war on Russia. Then, following a pre-planned strategy, Germany declared war on France and invaded Belgium to get to Paris quickly. Britain, sworn to protect Belgian neutrality, declared war on Germany. Within a matter of weeks, the great powers of Europe were at war. The powder keg had exploded. The conflict, which many believed would be over by Christmas, spiraled into 4 years of unimaginable trench warfare, industrial slaughter, and global suffering. It became known as the Great War, and later, World War I. It redrew the map of the world, toppled empires, and set the stage for even greater conflicts in the 20th century. And it all started with a driver who took a wrong turn, a stalled car, and a 19-year-old nationalist with a sandwich and a pistol. It's a chilling reminder of how history can pivot on the smallest of moments, on pure, dumb luck. A driver remembering his instructions, a gear that didn't stick, an assassin who went home instead of getting a snack. Any of these tiny changes could have altered the course of the 20th century. It shows that sometimes, the biggest events in history aren't the result of grand strategies or inevitable forces, but of accident, chance, and a single, catastrophic mistake. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next dive into the strange and surprising moments that show our world. See you next time.